there, Chuck here with MTG The Journey. Just going over a new deck that I have brewed so far. The only way I can really show you this is on Tapped Out because there's not really any other way to preview the cards all in a format here. Because obviously MTGO is actually not even going to have these cards up until after the 14th, which is way after the actual set releases. So this is pretty much the only way I have to show you my idea right now. So let's go ahead and go through this. It's a Junk Heroic Auras deck, and it's actually pretty simple here, so we'll just go ahead and skip down here and I'll show you what I've got as an idea here. For creatures, I'm going to run 17 here, and I'll explain what each of these is going to do here. Brahma's King of Vareskos here, he is basically just in the deck to kind of stall if we're racing somebody. We don't really want to see him very often, but he does so much that it's worth having him in here, I think. He'll be a distraction if nothing else, and if he's all we have early game, then he's just going to create a whole bunch of tokens that we can then turn around and use to block until we can get our game strategy set up. The Desecration Demons are, again, for games that we end up racing people, or they can do a lot on their own, forcing people to keep the field down a little bit. Plus, they're a 6/6 flyer, so if nothing else, we can hexproof this guy, and he can wreck once they run out of people to stack to him, or just cause a bunch of board pressure on his own, if nothing else. So, Fabled Hero is going to be one of our big heroic targets here, as he does have double strike, and you can put a +1/+1 counter on him every time you target him. And I have found that that using the Gift of Orzhova and the Ethereal Armor on this Fabled Hero gets him huge super quick, because he's basically doubling himself every turn. And then if you get more than one Ethereal Armor on him, he just goes crazy. He gets huge real quick and can end the game extremely fast. The Hero of Irois also is he's a +1/+1 counter every time you target him, and he actually causes your aura spells to cost 1 less, which doesn't do much for Ethereal Armor, but for Gift of Orzhova and Alpha Authority it makes them cost less. And this actually ends up being a pretty awesome target and nets you some cards, but I don't want to see it again very often because it is sorcery speed and it's slow and clunky a little bit, but it's worth having one of them in here because it can be kind of a help in a slow time. You could also probably put some card draw in here through either I don't really think you'd want to go, I mean you might want to go Underworld Connection because it interacts a little bit with Ethereal Armor, but you could probably do Read the Bones, and it probably wouldn't hurt you out too much, especially with having the Gift of Orzhova in the deck, as it does give your creatures lifelink and it can help you stay in a longer game for longer. Your Alpha Authority creates it hexproof, and it means it helps us be able to not get blocked by a whole crap ton of creatures right off the bat, which can eventually kill our dude. So we don't want that to happen. And the Sylvan Caryatids I have in here because they do add mana. They're hexproof themselves, and they are good little early game defenders if we stall into no creatures, which is fine sometimes when we have 2 of these guys in our hand. We don't have a whole lot of creatures yet, or we may have 1 creature, but it helps us to hit some of the mana when we might be stalled too, because we do have a couple of the double blacks and double whites, so that is kind of a little bit of a concern. Pretty much everything we have has a double casting cost, except for the Sylvan Caryatid itself, so that will help tremendously. On our board over here we have Selesnya Charms for pump. We can put a 2/2 white knight token onto the field if nothing else, and we can exile a target creature with power 5 or greater, which actually, if they're gods or creatures, hits their gods because it exiles them, it doesn't destroy them. So that's pretty helpful in and of itself. And a lot of the stuff like Desecration Demon and the well, it doesn't really hit Stormbreath Dragon, but you know, we're not really worried about Stormbreath Dragon when we have Desecration Demon on board. So Orzhov Charm can return target creature you control and all auras you control attached to it to your owner's hand, or destroy target creature and you lose life equal to its toughness. Yet again, another way to deal with the Stormbreath Dragons, Arbor Colossuses, Pool of Chronos, things of that nature. This can hit those fairly efficiently. For our lands, we went ahead and added a couple of these Temples of Silence and Temple of Plenties, so we do have some scry available to us. Just 2 plains and 1 forest, since we don't have all our Golgari lands yet, because we only have our shock land so far. So that is pretty much the deck in a wrap. For our sideboard so far, I haven't really messed around with a whole lot, but looking at Duress, Thoughtseize, and Sin Collector for control matchups to try to get as much out of their hands as fast as possible, and a Pithing Needle in case we're racing a black deck that might use some pack rats, things of that nature that we might need to shut down, and also stops the potential Jace, Architect, and things of that nature that we might run into. But yeah, let me know what you think of this, and as we move forward, I'll be looking to build this and test this a little bit more, and I might have some videos of just a few little play tests of this on here. So again, let us know what you think, and this has been Chuck with MTG The Journey.